threading their way through the largest rainforest on Earth, irrigating the most lush of all land habitats. 1,000 South American rivers gradually converge as one, engulfing a vast region of the planet in water and mystery. The river and rainforest called Amazon. It is the largest and least explored river system in the world. 10 of its tributaries are longer than the Mississippi. It is home to more species of fish than the Atlantic Ocean. Beyond its banks, a dense sanctuary concealing undiscovered plants and animals. The Amazon, 1/5 of all the river water in the world, in a single flood. The area drained by the Amazon is nearly as large as the continental United States, but it is now threatened by encroaching civilization. To explore this vast freshwater wilderness, Captain Jacques Cousteau and his team now plan a year-long expedition throughout the Amazon basin. The voyage may be Cousteau's most difficult ever. Millions of people around the world view the results of Cousteau expeditions, but few witness what goes on behind the scenes. The months of preparation, the work that makes the discoveries possible. It is a small ship as ocean vessels go, not much longer than a large tugboat, configured to carry only 27 people. Yet, of the countless ships plying the sea, perhaps none is more famous than this one, Calypso, the first launching platform for undersea exploration. Whether the voyage will lead to Antarctic ice or Amazon jungle, the preparation always begins with Calypso, the base of operations. Like many celebrities, Calypso's roots are humble. Characterized by gentle exploits today, she was, however, born of war. Christened minesweeper J-826, she is launched from a Seattle, Washington shipyard in 1942. Dispatched to the British Navy through the Lend-Lease program, J-826 is assigned to the Mediterranean. As she is entering World War II, a little-noticed event is taking place along the banks of the Marne River near Paris. A young French naval officer, Jacques-Yves Cousteau, makes the first test of an underwater breathing apparatus, the first aqualung, which he has invented with engineer Émile Gagnan. Their device enables humans for the first time to swim underwater for extended periods, untethered to air hoses. In the summer of 1943, along the south coast of France, Cousteau and several compatriots, including Philippe Taillet and Frédéric Dumas, make the first ocean tests of the aqualung. To document their adventures, they fashion underwater cameras. The images they capture show men for the first time gliding about the undersea world like fish, trafficking among life of another dimension. Cousteau and his comrades experiment with diving techniques with new equipment. Compelled by mutual curiosity, they evolve into a team. Simone Cousteau becomes one of the first female scuba divers. Sons Jean-Michel and Philippe are outfitted with small-scale aqualungs, making the undersea world a family affair. To explore the ocean, however, Cousteau will need a ship. On the island of Malta in 1950, he finds it, minesweeper J826, stripped of her wartime hardware, transfigured into a ferry boat. The operator has named her poetically for the sea nymph who imprisoned a wandering Ulysses. She carries 11 cars and 400 people. Cousteau acquires the ship and refits her as a research vessel. The first sea trial resembles a family picnic. The first crew is composed of family friends. So the legend begins.
To sail on a dream on a crystal clear ocean, to ride on the crest of a wild raging storm, to work in the service of life and the living, in search of the answers to questions unknown, to be part of the movement, part of the growing, part of beginning to understand. Like Calypso, the places you've been to, the things that you show us, the stories you tell. Like Calypso, I sing to your spirit, the men who have served you so long and so well. Oh Lord,
In 3 decades of exploration, documented in more than 60 films, Calypso travels 500,000 miles. The years and the miles, however, take a heavy toll on the aging wooden ship. December 1980. En route home from a Canadian expedition, Calypso is struck by an unexpected ice storm near Nova Scotia. A glaze of ice weighing nearly 20 tons wreaks havoc on the ship's exposed equipment, and jagged ice along the surface cuts into the ship's hull. Calypso makes it home to Norfolk, Virginia, but the damage has been done. More than 400 feet of gouged planking must be replaced, and a thorough inspection reveals that ice and age have invaded elsewhere as well. Nearly every element of the ship needs replacement or repair. Before Calypso can set out for the Amazon, the ship's crew must spend a year rebuilding her. Chief diver Raymond Cole, a crew member for 28 years, directs work on the ship's decks and exterior. Guy Jouas, the electronics officer for 18 years, repairs the electronics system. Jean-Marie France, the chief engineer for 16 years, supervises the rebuilding of Calypso's mechanical systems. Through spring, summer, and fall, the work proceeds. After 40 years, the ship's 2 auxiliary engines depart, replaced by new motors for the voyage into the remote jungle. They have been donated to Calypso like much of the new equipment. Radar and satellite navigation systems are reconditioned for use in the Amazon. In late summer, Calypso enters dry dock, where crews inspect, clean, and repair the ship's underwater body. Barnacles are stripped away by a stream of ground-up walnut shells. The propellers are removed in more traditional fashion. While Calypso is rehabilitated in Norfolk, special Amazon preparations have begun in other parts of the world. With Calypso's preparation nearly complete, Jacques and Jean-Michel Cousteau discuss their expedition plan. Jean-Michel will lead a land team from the source of the Amazon high in the Andes to the main river. His father will sail Calypso upstream from the river's mouth, and the two will rendezvous, covering a total of 4,000 miles. While the Cousteaus work on logistics, the camera team, facing difficult lighting situations on the expedition, conducts a series of experiments in the Amazon with various film stocks and filters. Assuming this test footage will never be used, the three veterans make the most of an opportunity to perform on the other side of the camera. While the camera crew experiments, research continues 1,000 miles away in Manaus, Brazil, the capital city of the Amazon and a probable expedition base for Calypso. Cousteau Society researcher and writer Paula de Perna arrives to set up cooperative Amazon projects between Calypso and the Brazilian scientific community. Meanwhile, halfway around the world in Italy, Captain Cousteau inspects a newly designed amphibious truck. Cousteau decides the all-purpose vehicle is ideal for his land team. The manufacturer provides it at no cost. In California, meanwhile, Jean-Michel supervises the design of new wetsuits for the Cousteau diving team. A special lightweight material is used so the divers can remain cool in the warm Amazon while they're protected from potential hazards in a river which is home to electric eels and piranhas. The result is the first major change in Cousteau wetsuits in 15 years. At the same time, in New York, Cousteau still photographer Scott Fryer is briefed on the capabilities of a sophisticated new camera system for the Amazon voyage. Jean-Michel and Dominique Soumillon, logistics leader of the land team, now inspect a 37-foot raft in the Cousteau warehouse in Norfolk. The two land team leaders decide that the rubber raft, equipped with a central platform to carry equipment and crew, will be used during a 2-month passage through the treacherous whitewater regions of the upper Amazon. An unusual package arrives in Norfolk. A hovercraft Cousteau has acquired for jungle travel. After months of hard work, the first tests afford a welcome opportunity for play. Cousteau and the Calypso team will use the craft to travel into regions of shallow water and mud, gliding on a cushion of air. After the massive renovation was begun, the final touches are now applied, and the crew begins to load the ship. First to go aboard, the delicate scientific instruments. The food storage compartments are filled with a supply that will feed 30 people for 6 weeks. New diving tanks, built for Cousteau in Italy, replace aging equipment. For protection in the humid rainforest, new canvas covers are made for cameras and deck equipment. On a cold winter day in Norfolk, Virginia, Calypso lies ready for a journey into the sweltering heat of the tropics. 2 days before departure, Captain Cousteau makes a final inspection of Calypso, joined by Albert Falco, the ship's preeminent diver. First mate Bruno Vidal confirms that a forward anchor and the anchor chains have been replaced and the radar platform reinforced. For Falco, inspections by Cousteau have become a familiar ritual. The senior crew member, he has been on every expedition since 1952. On the bridge, ship's captain Bernard Dassigné, joining Calypso for the first time, reports that the essential work of preparation is done. Only details remain. In the radio room, electronics chief Jouas reports that all is ready for the Amazon, including the ship's computerized equipment for recording data on water quality. Chief Diver Cole shows Cousteau 2 new filters for the compressed air system, which is used to fill the diving tanks. An extra reserve of steel cable is wound onto the hydraulic winch to be used should the ship need to pull itself out of mud or off of shifting sandbars. Cousteau is curious about a new winch installed recently to lower the ship's scientific probe. In the Amazon, scientists will use the equipment to gather data about such variables as water turbidity, temperature, and current speed. Cousteau enters an area of the ship never filmed before, the crew's quarters. Small and austere, but, as Cousteau notes, functioning well. Like seamen everywhere, Calypso's crew accepts a life reduced to essentials: a bunk, a desk to share, space for a duffel bag. Below deck, Chief Engineer France answers Cousteau's questions about recent work in the ship's engine room. Over the years, many of Calypso's features have changed, but the 2 main propulsion engines have not. Though rebuilt by the ship's engineers during the past year, they are the same 8-cylinder diesel engines installed in the former minesweeper in 1942. One of the new auxiliary engines, France points out, is adorned with a plaque, a tribute to Calypso from the assembly line workers who produced it. In the workshop, Cousteau finds last-minute work underway to repair circuitry for the ship's automatic pilot. Is the problem grave, he asks? No, it's not serious at all. Pleased by all he has seen, Cousteau pronounces his ship ready for departure. With the ship rejuvenated and the special preparations for a great jungle expedition complete, the day before departure becomes a media event. Cameras and reporters arrive in the chill of dawn, setting up for interviews aboard ship. Through the day and late into the night, the Cousteaus will spend their last day on land in a sea of reporters' questions.
Good morning.
While the more famous crew members appear on live television from Calypso's helicopter pad, the rest of the crew takes a break to watch.
Tomorrow, Captain Cousteau will set out on what he's called the greatest and most difficult expedition of his career. He'll leave Norfolk, Virginia, aboard the Calypso. Good morning, Jacques, Jean-Michel. Nice to see you both.
Good morning.
Little brisk out there, Jean-Michel. No coat?
No, I didn't know. I didn't know it was going to be cold.
Why the Amazon?
Is it going to be hot in the Amazon?
On a cold and rainy Saturday in February, the bittersweet day of departure arrives at last. After a year in storage, the ship's helicopter is ready for the short flight home to Calypso. Cousteau Society staff members, meanwhile, prepare a ceremony for the moment of leave-taking. Without fanfare, the last sailor arrives, Simone Cousteau, who has journeyed nearly every mile with Calypso.
I want for you to have a last chance, at least for a while, to say hello to the people of Calypso, the ones who are going to go on another adventure, as my father calls it, thanks to the crew of Calypso who's right on deck out there saying hello to you.
And so, treated to a 500-pound cake, drenched by a steady rain, inspired by well-wishers and friends who have braved the foul weather, the crew of Calypso now casts off for yet another voyage into yet another realm. Cousteau will note in his journal for this day that Calypso embarks on perhaps her most important mission ever, nearly 40 years to the day after her first launching from a Seattle shipyard. Now the months of preparation are over. The tedium of ship maintenance gives way to the anticipation of discovery. Headed for one of the world's last unexplored regions and the mightiest river on Earth, Calypso sets out one more time to see things never seen before. So the legend continues.